Day 1. You're the head of the LA 84 Olympics, and discover on your first day you're not making your first dollar, but realize you have a shoebox containing $300,000 of unpaid bills. This was the exact circumstances in which head organizer Peter Ueberroth had on his hands, along with the Soviet boycott, other foreign problems, and the lack of general interest in the Summer Olympics.
So how did this become such a success?
Starting with $300,000 in unpaid bills, Ueberroth had to find a way to make the games pay for themselves and rejuvenate the enthusiasm for the Olympics.
To understand the pressure put on by the IOC to get a successful Olympics, we have to take a look back a decade before '84, when the world was changing dramatically inside America and worldwide. War and peace collided in a foreign political feud known as Vietnam. The US did pull out their troops, if not for the great politically foreign savvy President Nixon, but soon his own hand in Watergate scandal will lead to his demise.
I have always tried to do what was best for the nation.
With these sorts of events, the US and world interest in the Olympic Games at this point was at an all-time low because of all the unrest, especially the damages done in the 1972 massacre at the Munich Olympics, and the economic disaster that left Montreal in a storm of debt that wouldn't be settled for 30 years. Getting involved with foreign affairs was less desirable than ever, and the Soviet threat grew larger as time went on until 1980, when the US led the boycott against the Moscow Olympics with 59 other countries. This boycott was an apparent sign that the world's meeting of athletes and cultures were at its undeniable end. The 1984 Olympics was boycotted by 14 East Bloc countries and only received interest from two cities, Tehran in Iran and Los Angeles in the state of California. When Tehran failed to submit a bid, Los Angeles won the Olympic bid by default.
The world has come to Los Angeles, 140 nations exactly. The weather has cooperated, clear skies, temperature in the 90s. It's the moment of anticipation before the great event begins.
Los Angeles wanted the Olympics, but only without taxpayer funding. Head organizer Peter Ueberroth believed in the Olympics and that it would be a success under him. He knew that money would be a problem, and that he would not just need to make good decisions, but the right ones. Since Los Angeles had so many venues already, the games could be done in an elaborate yet cost-effective manner. The city already had an Olympic Coliseum that was still being used and maintained, so Ueberroth didn't have to worry about the cost of modern facility. Los Angeles also had sports venues other than the Coliseum, such as the Forum Arena in Inglewood, the Pauley Pavilion on the UCLA campus, Dodger Stadium, and other venues all around Los Angeles. Los Angeles, as we know it, is a city of business, Hollywood, and commercialism. Ueberroth's experience as the previous owner of First Travel Corporation helped him gain sponsorship and funds for the LA 84. ABC bought the rights to televise and host the Olympics for more than $225 million. Organizers under Ueberroth set the stage for promotional materials, advertising, products, and even revolutionizing the idea of the art festival, with now iconic freeway murals to create hype for the 1984 Games. The money generated from all these decisions was enormous, and the American spirit of the Games was ready to shine alongside the world. LA was ready to face the world proudly with a successful setup, and not a dime of it was government money. The 23rd Olympiad of LA was a complete success and rekindled the legacy of the torch with an all-new American spirit shared over the world. An abundance of nations participate despite the Soviet boycott. We saw the first ever Olympics to be opened by an in-office president of the United States. New exciting stars in motion, like Mary Lou Retton, win all gold. And we even saw the reinduction of amazing Chinese athletes, not seen since 1952 Games. The 1984 Olympics are considered the most financially successful modern Olympics, and it's apparent to see why. What people saw from the outside looking in inspired several due to the blood, sweat, and tears of hard work by both athletes and coordinators to make the Olympics happen, under the pressure of social horrors and economic depression of the past decade.
The games were a success because people like Ueberroth cared about the legacy of a great symbolic tradition, and they knew it could still be appreciated worldwide. After the 23rd Olympiad, countries weren't afraid of hosting an Olympics because of Los Angeles' smart and efficient handling of the event. LA-84 was made to span generations to come, and it did because of people's efforts and interest in athletes who inspire the dream to overcome obstacles that are standards set high, but always within reach.